Greetings, Masandawana. We're back again with yet another installment of the Yellow Corner, and this time we bring you the last Premier Soccer League match of the season and ending the season the only way we know how, with the championship secured. Sure, Kwame Pepra, congratulations on your Young Player of the Season and nomination.
Sure, everyone.
How are you, Kwame?
I grand winner.
No, man, no complaints. Yeah, 2 more episodes to go before we rest, man. It's been a long season, man.
Yeah, no. It has been a long season of dominating the South African football.
When will you guys start dominating continental football?
Just feel like
okay, if you say so. Yeah, man, we're previewing our last league match. We're taking on Royal AM Chatsworth at that garbage of a stadium, a soccer field. It's a pathetic excuse of a soccer field, but hey, it is what it is, man. Rabs, how would you rate a Royal AM season out of 10?
Out of 10, I'll give them 7.5. I'll give them 7.5, considering that this is a team that was named Bloemfontein Celtics, and they had to move to the KZN, and they had to mix the squad of the previous Royal EM that was playing in the Glad Africa with the guys that were playing Bloemfontein Celtics. So I think they've adjusted very well, and they've done very well in the league. I think they are challenging for the second spot. They also got eliminated in the quarterfinals of the Nedbank Cup, and they played Mamelodi Sundowns. So I think overall, I think they've done very well, and I'm definitely sure that John Maduka is happy with his team, and he's looking to build from this team going to the next season.
I'm going to add a 5, a 0.5 there. So I'm going to give them an 8 out of 10 for the reasons that you've just mentioned, but as well as the following reasons. One, they're challenging for a Champions League spot, man. It's for a team that's a combination of two teams of players who had to relocate for them to be fighting for the second spot. I mean, they're currently third on the log. They've played 28 games. They've won 12 games. They drew 10. They lost 6. Goals for Yabona is 39. They are just behind Sundowns in terms of the number of goals scored. They second on the goals for standings, and they've conceded 26. Goal difference is 13. They're currently sitting on 46 points. So they have 2 more games to play. They can get to 52 points. I mean, their points per game is currently 1.64. I mean, the average goals for 1.39, which is really good. And like I said, it's just behind Sundowns only. Goals against is 0.93. For the reasons that we mentioned and how well they've done, I think an 8. I think Mamkiza will be really satisfied with how they've fared this season, and I think they can only build from that, even though I want to look at now. They are rumored to have signed a certain player that I think might destabilize the dressing room, because yeah. Yeah, I am not so long to let you run for customer about to Jeff and I go out to Canada Malapa Ama. So yeah, man. But Rab's form guide tells us in their last 5, they've only won 1. What do you think is the reason for that? I think for Naki, probably season end fatigue. The guys, okay, we've qualified for the top 8. There's really nothing to play for. But I'm sure they want to get into the Champions League. But the main target has been reached. I think that BP top eight, BP top eight, that MTN 8 slot. The fact that they have security has maybe they in a way resting on their laurels. So I think that's why they've not performed so well in their last five. What do you think?
Yeah, I think if you look at the stats, I think their last 5 games, sharp. But one thing that I've picked up is that after their game against Tuks in the is it round of 16? Yeah, it is round of 16. After their game against Tuks, they've been struggling to get maximum points. And if you look at the 5 games that they played before the round of 16 against Tuks, out of 15 points, they got 13 and they scored 11. After the round of 16, they played about 4 games and they drew about, I think they got 33 points out of the 12 points. So I think the game after Tuks, they've been struggling, but I don't think it's the security of being in the top 8. I think one would say it is a fatigue, and I believe John Maduka would want to finish up high.
It's funny that you've mentioned that, what you've just mentioned, in terms of how they struggled. They were doing so well prior to their game against Tuks, and then after that game, they started struggling. Because if you remember that day, they played in a swimming pool against Tuks, man. It took a lot physically out of the players. So you're raising a very good point there, man. Rabs, Sundowns, man. What's the importance here? Winning this game on Saturday. I mean, there's not much to play for if we're being honest, but I think for Nanem, the important score, you want positive vibes in the camp going into a cup final. You want the guys to be the mood to be high, as well as the fact that you don't want momentum it's something that's very important. You don't want to lose 2 games in a row. As much as momentum is momentum when you're winning, there's also momentum when you lose it. I mean, I'm going to make an example at Arsenal. They might not qualify for the Champions League next season because they lost. There's a point where they lost 3 games in a row. And when you look at some of those games, they could have won. So it killed momentum going into the last hurdle stand to the league. So the Sundowns, you don't want to lose 2 games, not winning 2. It's unlike Sundowns, man. But Sundowns, they're like Man City. They don't fail to get maximum points in 2 consecutive games. It's unheard for in recent times for teammates on the Sundowns. Your thoughts?
Yeah, no, I think first of all, it is very great to lift the trophy with a victory. I think it is very good. And also, I agree with you. I think winning this game, I think, will be a confident booster for us because we are playing a big game on 28 May. So I think we need this victory. I don't think we just need it because of we have to win, but I think based on how we played against Stellenbosch, I think we need this victory because of we didn't play very well. I think this is a game where we could redeem ourselves and prepare for the final as well.
True, man. There's a lot of corrections that need to be done. With regards to, and the funny thing is, the team that we played last weekend and team that we're playing this weekend, they are in a way, they have a lot of similarities, or in a way. I want to know if there's one thing that annoyed me that gave me last Stellenbosch. I do not mind losing there. But I want that goal that we considered, Dupree, the first one. I did no professional team should consider a goal like that. It annoyed me big style goal here. Rabs, what's the one thing? It's the last game of the season. What's the one thing that has impressed you this season, Sundowns?
I think being flexible. I think playing around with the system and the approach. I think that has really and impressed me, and also being willing to take the risk. I think that has been rewarding. And remember, against Baroka and against Al Hilal, those are the games where we played with one man down, but we still went on to win those games. So I think, regardless on the numbers of players we have on the pitch, we still want to dominate, we still want to win the games. Unlike some teams still like, you see a one man down, you'd want to protect your scoreline and maybe play for a draw. But for Mamelodi Sundowns, it has been different. We go all out and try to get the win. And also trying new things. Like, there's a lot of new things that we saw this season. One would be Shalule playing as a wide forward in a couple of games, and also the game that we played against Kaizer Chiefs, where Jad was as part of the defense. So I think those kind of things, they're impressive because of it shows we are willing to change, we are willing to get out of our comfort zone and take the risks.
Yeah, there. And also the fact that I said one, but and also you decided to give me three, but hey, last game of the season, I will let it slide. Yeah, I'm gonna mention the one that you mentioned in terms of the systems and formations that we played this season. That's the word. It's a word that I want to use, but it's not coming. The way we're flexible. I mean, we played 3-4-3 in one game. I think it was against Royal AM in the first round. We played 4-2-2-2, 4-4-2, 4-3-3. Like, wow. So that's one thing that's impressed me. That's Sundowns. Wow. And another thing, I think Coach Mangoba or Coach Hulani mentioned it during the week in one of the press conferences. Wow. Hore, this is the one season where we used the most number of players. We didn't just use a lot of players, but the players that we used every time they raised their hands. It didn't look like they didn't seem they don't have match fitness. They played as if they'd been playing on a regular basis. So that's really impressed me, Sundowns. Perhaps the Premier Soccer League announced the nominees for the current season's awards, and I want to touch a bit on that, but not like talk about the awards, the Premier League, but talk more so Sundowns. I have three categories that I want to discuss with you. Who's your Sundowns player of the season? Who's the most improved player with Sundowns for you this season, and who's the one player that has disappointed you this season?
I think obviously Shalule will be the best player Mamelodi Sundowns this season, and the most improved players I'll give Mudau and Riyad. I think Mudau has really improved his game, and he showed that we can rely on him on the big games. So as Riyad Peters, I think he has done very well. And for Riyad, challenging for the number one spot with a goalkeeper that has been consistent for about past 8 years, I think there's been difficult. So I think Riyad and gave us that phenomenon again. Okay, correct. We can rely on him, and we can build the team or our defense around him. And the most disappointing, I think, Kemet and Mutuba. I think their injuries. I expected to see them more, but injuries did cover. So I think that is a disappointing, because of there are certain games where you need a guy like Mtupa, a guy like Kemet. So unfortunately, in some of those games, they were unavailable. So I think that is very disappointing.
So you decided to go for all the players that I was gonna go for. Like you, I think Shaduli has had a brilliant season, man. I can. Nomveto was the last player to score 20, I think, to get 20 goals in the league in recent years, and he's achieved that. You look at his stats; they're absolutely insane, man. Jali has had a brilliant season, man. Jali for me was the player of the season, like season in say, but you can't. I think it's Kens who mentioned this in one of the reviews. Or you can't turn a blind eye on what Shalu has done this season. So go for Shalu. And Lena Mudau has been the most impressive player for me. We went in hard on Kuliso last season. And I think Liena, end of the season, he did a lot of introspection, and he had a blind off a season. He's had a really great season, Kuliso. And like you, Kemet, Gavin Hunt a few weeks ago, he said something along the lines that Kemet is the one player who, when he thinks about a player who didn't fulfill his potential, is Kemet. And to be fair to the guy, the injuries have played a role in his career. It's difficult to build momentum when you play one game or 3 games and then you're out injured. So, and I think that red card against Barok, and remember, I think it was around December or towards December, and it cost him big time, because I think he was starting to get into the team, and then that red card, an unnecessary red card, I may add. So, yeah, man. For Kemet is one of the most naturally talented players in the league, man. Like, what's about Paolo Kemet? Striker Kemet. So, I remember one time he used to play he was still playing at Super Sports Academy, and there was a friendly, and I think he had scored more than 3 or 4 goals by then, and I think Kwanele Kop was still the coach, and Kwanele was not happy with his effort, his work rate after he had scored those goals there. And then he was shouting at him, and Kemet raised his hands and, coach, it's way too easy. It's way too easy. So it's. I really wish Kemet would have reached the level that I think he should have. But yeah, man. Let's move on.
Speaking about Kwanele Kop, is he available for the MDC position or?
Why are you being spicy now? Why are you being spicy now? Wait, for MDC position, coaching job for which club? You are full of surprises, eh? What do you expect from this game from both sides?
Look, I think before I come on speaking about what I expect from both sides, I think the last games of the league, more especially how the Team 11, they have already won the title. I think the intensity of the game, it is a little bit down. Like, I want to give him nothing, man. So give me a channel level still. You see, those type of games, you are not fluid because of already they've already won the league, win or lose, it is already in the cabinet. So, but coming to both sides, I think from Royal EM, I'm expecting a team that is going to use the speed that they have within their team. I think they have the likes of Mokhaila and Potan. And remember, in the first round, when they played them, Call of Stars, I think Potan was giving Busa a hard time, and he tested our defense. So when you have a guy like Potan and Mokhaila, you have speed, and you can test Mamelodi Sundowns and try to pin them back, because of it will be difficult for us to play a little bit high, because of we know the space that we leave behind. The likes of Potan and Mkhaila would love that. And also from Royal EM, the equalizer that they scored against Mamelodi Sundowns in the quarterfinals, in the semifinals, that goal, I saw them moving the ball faster, and it went to Matlaba and scored a goal. So I think if they can continue moving the ball faster and not wait for Mamelodi Sundowns to regroup and be organized again. And also Matlaba, we all know what Matlaba gives the teams when going forward, because of he adds and he's there to support. And Matupu, I think a guy like Matupu in this game would be very effective, because of we know Matupu can hold up the ball and link up with other attacking players, and he's good in terms of positioning himself around the box, and he also gives you height inside the box as well. But for Mamelodi Sundowns, I'm expecting a team that is going to invite Royal AM to come at us, and once they come at us, obviously leave spaces behind, and we obviously capitalize, because of in the Nedbank Cup game, I saw exactly that, where they were coming at us with a lot of numbers and they were leaving spaces, and unfortunately we couldn't punish them in those moments that we got. And also I'm expecting Mahlasel is not a natural midfielder, and I want us to take advantage of that. And lastly, Nyame, we saw what Nyame did in the previous game when he played Royal AM. Force their defense to pass back the ball to Nyame and apply the pressure. Lastly, our best chances in the first half came from the crosses and on Matlaba's side. So that means I want us to repeat that. Wait for Matlama to go up front, and once I see a space save, that's where we can exploit the space and bring in crosses, and hopefully we get a goal from a cross.
And also, it's my turn to speak now. Yeah, man, speaking about pace, Coach Mangoba, can't remember if it's on the club website, but I read some ways. Was it a press conference where he said they no longer play like they used to? Celtic, that build-up play. So they in the last two games, Mukhaila has started in the last two games. And I can't remember where I once read this, but at some point he was probably the fastest player in the league when he was still at Highlands Park. So they will try and use him in the way Stellies used Dupree, because it worked wonders what they did at Dupree. So I'm sure Coach Maduka saw okay, he can again Stellies exploited that he can do the same Sundowns. So they will try and get they'll try get behind Sundowns as soon as they regain possession. So long range passing Palani now comes into play, because I believe they'll play midfield two of Palani given Mashikinya. Mashikinya is more of a someone who's similar to Blesser. He fetches the ball, he carries it, he makes the team play. But because they want to get behind Sundowns as soon as possible, they'll have Palani will be the one. He'll be the quarterback who will be spraying those passes. And then the mere fact that I think Libusa, if he plays, they will target him. He's off form and confidence class. I think it's fragile. So he'll be a target for them. They will have seen what teams like Stellies did, and they would have they'd use that against him. They would use that in terms of Pacia Mukhaila, trying to get him to Mukhaila to take advantage of the ball over Mosane, and then they'd have someone like Matupu, who is a big boy, who will try and wrestle and bully him and make it a physical battle for him. Offensive, I think Royal AM will be on the offensive. I think they'd want to They have lost to Sundowns 2 times this season. I don't think they'd want to lose 3 times to Sundowns. I think they'll be motivated to spoil the parties, if you may say, for Sundowns on Saturday. And then the same thing that you said, Matlaba bombs forward. He bombs forward. So what do you do as Sundowns? Qualitative superiority on his side, where we overload that side. Yeah, Matlaba, like you said, we tried exploiting it in the semi-final. We use that again in this match. How overlapper from Sundowns, I expect a high intensity game. You said normally the game is just so they are, a bit boring because there's nothing to play for. But I think the fact that players are playing for starting berth in 7 days' time in a cup final, everyone that of then finally. So I expect Sundowns to up tempo to be on like push. We will play as if they need 3 points to win the league. I think Jali is going to be very, very key in this match. Key in essence, these guys play with 2 strikers up top. Even though Victor at times he can be a 9.5, but Kidi natural number 9 Victor. So they stick to your center backs, but literally occupy them. So Jan will have to always be around there to sweep around to make sure the second balls and everything he's there to help the 2 center backs. Before we move into the lineups, we Roshini and Tole le Mandela, they are back training. So the images today. But Oshin last played 27th April when he played Cape Town City and he got injured. Do you now play him on Saturday so that he gets confidence and match fitness like legs on kilometers on his legs going into the final, or you like it's too late, I'm not playing him in the final as well?
Indaba, he's I think at this moment he's our best defender, and in some top teams, once your best defender are available, you start him because of he's your best defender. And also the mistakes that happened against Stellenbosch, when Roshin is there, those mistakes are maybe limited or they don't happen at all. So I think a guy like Roshin, I'll start him against Royal EM so that he gets the minutes in these leagues, be preparing to the final.
Your lineup?
My lineup, Riyad will definitely start. I would have Mudau, I would have Grant, and I would have Roshin, right left back. I would have Mudau. I would have Oprimudi. Midfield, AJ, Blesser, then I would have Zwane, Maema, Shalulilele, Safranco.
Are you playing into the 2 number 9s like the guys said when they're reviewing the game? It worked wonders in that game in the semi-final. I'll make one change. I'll have Gaston playing instead of Sereno. I'm not just looking at beating these guys. I'm looking at that would be the lineup that I go to the final with. So I need the guys who will play in the final playing in this match. Perhaps we have, I think, gone over our time. Quickly, your predictions.
1-1.
Who's scoring?
Zwane.
I will go for 2-2. I think Shalili, I've been saying I hope and pray for Shalili. I hope Shalili, because last week you could have easily got a head trick first half. I hope and pray Shalili gets a brace, man. And that's that, Masandawana. Thanks for watching. Please don't forget to subscribe, like, and comment. And yeah, safe travels to everyone who's going down to Durban for the title crowning. And yeah, good luck to the boys. Hope we don't have any injuries. You will see us for the last time this season next week, Friday, when we preview the Nedbank Cup final. Show them, sharp, sharp, Masanda.
Ngiyasebeletha. Danko.